Most men today are mentally fragile, not because they were born that way, but because they've been trained that way. Trained by comfort, trained by endless scrolling, trained by soft routines, easy decisions, and a culture that rewards emotion over action. They live disconnected from any real control, controlled by what others say, by what their phone tells them, by what their impulses demand. And in the quiet moments, they feel it, that deep, buried fear that they aren't as strong as they should be. But there was a time when men trained their minds like soldiers, a time when leaders ruled not with greed or noise, but with discipline and silence. And at the center of that time was one man, Marcus Aurelius. He was emperor of Rome, a warrior, a philosopher, a father, a leader under fire. And yet in the middle of his empire crumbling, he sat down each night to write reminders to himself, not about power, but about restraint. Not about victory, but about inner strength. He believed that the mind was a fortress, and that the real war wasn't outside, but within. He called it the Inner Citadel, a place inside yourself that nothing could shake. Not fear, not failure, not betrayal, not even death. And that's what you're here to build. You don't need more motivation. You need structure. You need discipline. You need the code that made men unbreakable for centuries. And you'll find that code in Stoicism. Now understand this, Stoicism isn't a buzzword. It's not being tough or feeling nothing. It's the daily practice of choosing what matters over what feels good. It's controlling your perception, mastering your response, and honoring your character above everything else. In a world obsessed with reaction, the Stoic trains for reflection. He doesn't seek comfort, he seeks clarity. Because clarity is where real strength lives. When you wake up tomorrow, ask yourself this: are you operating out of purpose or autopilot? The Stoic doesn't drift through the day. He decides how he'll respond before the world even speaks. Most people live on impulse. The Stoic lives by principle. Let's get into the practices. Marcus and other Stoics trained themselves through something called voluntary discomfort. It's not punishment, it's preparation. They fasted, they walked without luxury, they spoke little, ate less, and avoided indulgence. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. Why? Because if you can master the small things you could enjoy, you'll become immune to the big things you wish you could avoid. Comfort is addictive, and addiction is weakness, no matter what form it takes. You want to build your citadel? Then start by doing what others avoid. Cold showers, early alarms, turning off your phone, sitting in silence, reading instead of watching, speaking only when it improves the moment. Every time you deny comfort, you reinforce command. You prove to yourself that you are in charge, not your body, not your cravings, not your habits. That's brick number one. Brick number two is control. Marcus said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Think about that. You don't control other people. You don't control outcomes. You don't control the weather, the economy, or the past. You control your thoughts, your words, your effort, your focus. That's your kingdom. And most people, they abandon that kingdom every day, surrendering their peace to politics, traffic, gossip, and emotions they never question. The Stoic holds the line. He acts where he has influence, and he ignores what he doesn't. If a problem is within his hands, he handles it. If it's not, he releases it. Simple, unshakable, Stoic. Now, let's talk about time. Marcus reminded himself often that death was not far away, not to be grim, but to stay sharp. To him, time was precious because it was scarce, and yet most men waste hours, days, even years delaying the life they want while scrolling, fantasizing, and waiting for permission. The Stoic acts now. He doesn't delay difficult conversations. He doesn't put off hard decisions. He wakes up with the question, what can I do today that will make me stronger tomorrow? If your answer is nothing, you're not thinking clearly. There is always a war to fight within. Maybe it's your laziness. Maybe your insecurity. Maybe it's the voice that says, you're not ready. That's the one you attack. That's the one you burn to the ground with action. And how? Through repetition. Repetition builds the mind. Discipline isn't something you wake up with. It's something you earn brick by brick. Every early morning, every hard rep, every hour spent building rather than consuming. That's how you create the mental momentum most men never develop. And that's how your inner citadel starts to rise. So here's your challenge. Pick one discipline and live it for the next 7 days. One principle, not 10, not 5, just one. Maybe it's rising at 5 a.m. Maybe it's no social media until noon. Maybe it's journaling for 10 minutes before bed. Whatever it is, commit to it like your mind depends on it, because it does. You're either laying bricks in your citadel or breaking them. There is no pause button. You're always building something, strength or weakness. So build wisely. This is the path of Fortis Mind, not motivation, but mastery. And now you know the truth. You don't need more. You need less. Less distraction, less emotion, less comfort. And with that space comes clarity. With clarity comes control. With control comes power. Power over yourself. Power over your direction. Power over your response. That is the power Marcus Aurelius wrote about. That is the power you are here to build. So build it, live it, and be Fortis.